Hey guys, Nick from Offroad here, going to talk to you about the 105 kit we've been putting together. I kind of am excited about it. It wasn't something we planned on doing, but it's something I've ended up doing out of necessity for a bunch of our customers that have come to us with poorly set up vehicles. So this is what it is, this is what we've got. It's a long travel, and I know everyone loves the word long travel in the four-wheel drive game, especially in Australia, because they get to use it on their Facebook page. It's a long travel kit for the 105 that actually works properly, rides well, holds the weight. A lot of them are quite heavy. You got your big rear bars and spare wheel carriers, plus draw systems and all the camping gear that, you know, everything, kitchen sink, the lot. It holds it up, it works properly. Coils, I know this is a bit of a shock to a lot of people, but they have to stay retained. These ones are 100% retained in the vehicle, working properly. There's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches of what would effectively be a preload setting on the front end, the rear springs, which makes us really happy. I talk about that all the time to a lot of people, and they sort of get a bit lost on it, but I want preload, I want that coil in there, I want that diff working. It helps with keeping the car controlled, especially on your big angles, and it means that at full extension, when that diff is on the ground and you're fully topped out, the diff wants to drive your car forward. It doesn't want to just bounce back off the ground. Okay, so all right, you might sacrifice 1 inch or 2 of travel here and there to maintain those correct setups, but the car effectively overall is going to work better for it, and that's what we've done. So that's the rear end, the progressive rate coils. We got 2 rates in those as well. So you got a heavy duty, a medium duty and a heavy duty. Your medium duties are for your rear bar and wheel carrier, like this car. If Ben wants to just show them people what we've got. Rear wheel carrier, rear bar, that's a Raslar setup. So it's not light, it's still pretty heavy. No draw systems or anything in the back. He runs around pretty light, bit of camping gear on the weekend, away he goes. The next heavy duty, that's for your next step up again. Your draw system, your chew fridges, your fridge, your freezer, and your kitchen sink, and your 5 barbecues and your gas bottles and everything that people can sort of fit in their back of their 105. So move back in again. The other one of the cool things that I've sort of done here is we've changed the shock. Now we've got 11.5 inches of travel in the rear, and it's working properly, so it actually uses it all, end to end. With that and a 5-link vehicle, you get a lot of sideways movement in the diffs. The pinned style shocks in the back of a cruiser up the top here, they're a weak point. They don't fail all the time, but it was something I sort of looked at and went, look, we can make an improvement on that. It's going to cost the money to do it, but we can make an improvement. And we've come up with a pin system, or a pin eliminator, I guess you could say, kit to change the shock over to an eye instead of a pin, basically. It's a bit stronger, a bit more reliable. I think it's a better bush system, especially when the car's holding, the shock's holding the weight of that diff. It's worked really well. As you can see, we've had it in this car for a little while. Jamie's been nice enough to give us a bit of time to test everything, and we've had a couple of failures with those pins, and we've refined it a little bit, bigger circlips on the sides of the bushes and stuff like that, just to tweak it and get it perfect, and it's come together nice. Jamie's been real happy with this setup, and it's the basic setup. It's just got the main components you need. Your bump stops are all worked out. And it maintains both your proper stopping bump stop and your progressive bump stops. That's all been worked out. Your travel, your shock boots, all your basics, all in there, ready to roll. Now, if we move a little bit forward, Ben, front's a similar story. We've got our progressive rate coils, same story, maintaining and preload, getting that stuff working properly. We've gone to 10.5 inches in the front, which a lot of people think that's not. Like some guys are out there with 14s and all sorts of stupid stuff. They've come in with problems, and we've resolved the problems, and this is what we've come up with to do it. Pretty much any car out there with that 12 inches or more, once you work out where their droop is and where they're sitting, basically they were flexing their drag links. Every single one, ball joints on both ends of the drag links, bottomed out, completely flexing it, just literally waiting for it to go wrong. So we've ended up wanting that same amount of kind of movement and flex, but we've focused on maintaining original bump stop heights. So while it isn't a lot of downward droop, it's still 10.5 inches of wheel travel, fully usable, all the way up, bump stops, the whole lot. And you can also see, with a bit of help from Benji from Ramp Customs, he's got us a steering dampener there, so we can convert it from the original steering dampener setup and put a nice Fox one on there, slightly better bush system. That, you know, makes us all pretty happy when we can run the better gear over time. Yeah, panhards. This one here, we've set it up with a set of Superior arms. They're working really well. I think they're around the 6 degree mark for the height we got. The kit's overall height, we're looking at about 4 to 5 inches. A light cruiser will sit at your 5-inch mark. You know, the heavier ones will sit at about the 4-inch. They're a progressive coil, so it will vary a little bit. It's never going to be a perfect number. I never chase a perfect number, I chase a perfect setup. So that's what we've ended up with here. We're really stoked with it. The car sits well. We'll get you some more footage of the car sitting and a bit of flex, because it looks really good when it's you know, flexed up and moving around. So we'll try and get that together for you as well and put some more footage together. The only other things we've really done on this particular one has been the basics, like a breather kit and a few things like that. But as you can see, yeah, it's a complete setup. It works really well. There's heaps more you can do to the 105s. We've been doing a few of them now, and they've all been kits that have had cars that have had kits in them, and we've had to kind of work out, you know, where we are, what we're going to do to get it working properly and get it to that point. And it hasn't been easy, because you've never got a blank canvas. You've always got a bit of a messy canvas to start with. But we're happy with it. We've done it a few times. The key has been the coils. We spent a bit of time, probably a fair few sets of coils, trying to get that worked out. We ended up working with King Springs really closely, and he's built us our own sort of a progressive rate 105 series setup with a couple of options. We will also happily run packers and stuff into these coils. I know it's a bit of a grey area for some people, running a trim packer or a coil packer or a spacer. You know, we don't go massive with them, 10, 15, some 20 mils. That depends on, you know, the weight of your car, your overall setup. You might have a heavy front and a light rear, or, you know, the other way around, and we just want to trim that up to sort of get it right. It's effectively the same as adjusting the preload on a coilover. As long as we're not exceeding the numbers we're chasing, we're good, you know what I mean? That's what it's there for. It's just a slight adjustment to get it kind of where we want. Look, I think that's about all we got really with the 105 kit. We'll get, like I said, we'll get some more footage together, we'll get some flex photos for you so you can see it moving around. And when you got your questions, give us a buzz. We got kits, we have got them in stock. We've also got, you know, the componentry in stock, and happy to work with the guys that have already got setups and want to improve it or change it, get more predictability in their cars for when they're wheeling some of the heavy, harder stuff. We've done a bit of work on the valving. The shocks in here have all been kind of set up pretty close to what it is for what would be, you're rolling off the top, rolling straight out of the floor, out of the shop, and they're pretty good. Like I say with valving, guys, we can do it to the end. Like it never stops. You can always make it better. So anyone wants to work with us on that side of stuff, we're happy to do it as well. But I think the key with this one is it's a good simple setup with the right coils. It works well on road, it works well off road, it's nice and predictable, and there's a bunch of options you can do with it as well. So yeah, when you want to know more about it, give us a buzz, let us know at Solve Offroad.